the empty space that I have to the right. So our triangle has a height of 4 centimeters and a base of 6.75 centimeters. Our rectangle has a length of 6.75 centimeters and a width of 10.0 or 10 centimeters. And our semicircle has a diameter of 6.75. The first thing I'm going to do is find the area of the triangle. So our formula is base times height divided by 2. So the area of the triangle is going to be equal to 6.75, the base, times a height of 4, and we're going to divide that number by 2. So 6.75 times 4 will give us 21. Divided by 2 will give us 13.5 centimeters squared. So this is the area of our triangle. Make sure you keep enough space on your handout to include the rectangle and the semicircle. I'm going to have to erase my work just for the sake of having enough space to write it as I create this video. So draw a line, keep your work nice and organized, and draw a rectangle to represent the area of the rectangle. The area of our rectangle is represented by the length times the width. The length of our rectangle is 6.75 centimeters multiplied by the width, which is 10, is going to give us 67.5 centimeters squared for the total area. So again, leave a space, draw a line, keep your work nice and organized, and we're going to find the area of the semicircle. So notice I've drawn a semicircle to remind myself to divide the area of a whole circle in half, since we only have half of that shape. Okay, and for our semicircle, we're going to take the area of a circle, which is pi times the radius squared, and we're going to divide that by 2. We're going to cut in half, excuse me, since we have half of a circle. So pi is a number, so we're going to treat that as the coefficient for r, and the radius would be half of our diameter. So since our diameter was 6.75, we're going to have to divide this number by 2 to get the radius. And the radius is equal to 3.375 centimeters. So we have pi times 3.375 squared, all divided by 2. So following the order of operations, we're going to perform the term with the exponent first. So we must do 3.375 times 3.375. And if you notice, if you put that into your calculator, you get a pretty long number. I get 11.390625 and so on. So instead of rounding halfway through our work, we're going to round at the very end. So the next thing I'm going to do is take that number instead of rounding and multiply it by pi right on your calculator. So we're going to have 35.7847, another large number. So again, instead of rounding now, we're going to do that as our last step. So the last thing that I have to do is divide by 2. So before rounding on your calculator, divide that number by 2, and we'll get 17.89235, and so on. So since this is our final answer, now we can round. And since this problem doesn't specify what to round to, always round to the nearest tenth, which is 1 decimal place. So 17.9 centimeters squared. I'm going to pause for a moment, and I'm going to show you on a calculator just how to do the steps that I showed you with pi. So I'm going to show you on this online calculator just how to substitute and solve when we're working with pi. So we have area is equal to pi times 3.375 squared divided by 2. So in my calculator, I'm going to put in 3.375 squared, or 3.375 times 3.375. So 3.375 squared is going to equal 11.390625. So again, instead of rounding and then multiplying by pi, I'm going to keep that entire number in my calculator and multiply it by pi. Pi is spelled P-I, by the way, so I'm going to go on ahead and click pi. You'll actually have the symbol for pi in your calculator, not the word. And that's equal to 35.7847 and so on. So again, because this isn't our final answer, we're not going to round just yet. I'm going to go on ahead and divide this number by 2. So divided by 2 is going to give us 17.892351 and so on. So now that we've gone through all the steps and this is our final answer, this is what we're going to round. So 17.89 to the nearest tenth would be approximately 17.9 centimeters squared. So let's go back and look at our shape. And now we need to find the total area of the triangle, the rectangle, and the semicircle, since that's what makes up this entire image. So we had 13.5 centimeters squared for a triangle. We found that the rectangle was 67.5 centimeters squared, and our semicircle is 17.9 centimeters squared. So if we take the sum of these three shapes, it gives us a total area, and please be sure to write total area since we're going to have a whole bunch of numbers over here. You should make sure that your answer is easily identifiable. If we add these three shapes up, we get a total area of 98.9 centimeters squared. So that is the total area of this composite shape. So again, a composite shape is just an image made up of multiple shapes. You're going to have about 45 minutes to work on some examples involving the area of complex figures, complex two-dimensional figures, and then you'll work on a spiral review the last 20 minutes of class. So everything that we do this week, we're going to be spiraling back to review other topics that we've covered before. Be sure to round your answers as your final step.